6 rounds done, ready for round 7. Welcome everyone to the Talent Factory League 4th season, to round 7, the Belgian Grand Prix. And after finishing 6 rounds, the final 6 rounds kick off here at Spa. And it promises to be an interesting session, with some of the faster guys joining later in the session. And one of them being Yagizan. So if he can't join during qualifying 1, he will start from the back of the grid, which should certainly will make an interesting race to watch, as the Alpine of Meneer van den Bergen is the first one to head out onto the track. And it seems a little bit darker around the circuit. Might that be some rain on its way? It doesn't look like there is rain yet, but there might be some rain in the foreseeable future. Who knows? As Jars has selected the medium tire in the pit lane, as the Alpine driver is the first one to go out. Interesting, this corner. Off camber. And some people call it Rivage and some people call it Bruxelles. But for all people, it's a corner where you easily lock up. And that might be a corner to watch in the race for overtakes. As the Mercedes of, it looks like Milan, has spun already at the no-name corner. Gonna right after Bruxelles. Warming his soft tires. As Jars is disqualified from session for blocking the pit lane, so he will start from the back of the grid. Unbelievable here in qualifying 1. Jars out already after being disqualified for blocking the pit lane. As Meneer van den Bergen starts his lap now, so if all things add up, it would mean there's only one other driver being knocked out here in qualifying 1. Because the top 15 will continue through to Q2. But that's utter disappointment for Jars. And I'm wondering why he was disqualified. Why did he stop at the end of the pit lane? As Meneer van den Bergen carefully rides the curbs here at Les Combes. Pretty dangerous place to ride the curbs. You could easily lose the car at that point. Through no-name corner, staying in 5th gear, not the ideal exit. Onto Pouan. And isn't shifting down to 6th gear, stays in 7th gear. Missed the apex at the entry of Pouan. And it doesn't look like a tidy lap from Meneer van den Bergen as he spins it into the gravel. So he is done with his lap. And Ecos Cameron is on a hot lap, so let's go on board with Cameron. He rides the curbs a little bit better here. And onto Stavelot we go. First, the sector. It's a 14.1, fastest middle sector we've seen so far, because it's the only sector that we saw until that point. Onto the bus stop chicane through Banchimon. Braking right after the 100 meter board, takes the bus stop chicane. And this is the apex of the bus stop, but Cameron goes a 142.5 in Q1. Next up, it's the Alfa Romeo of Jerry van Bussel, I think it is. Yes, Jerry is going for his run now. He misses. He hits the apex, but gets slightly wider on exit. 42.8, 3 temps down. And now it's the second Haas starting his lap, Steph. And Jerry's teammate Sven is now completing his lap. It's a 2:09. And that surely means it wasn't his best lap. I think he's putting a lap off right after now. FRL Robin 43.2 B3 as the Aston Martin heads back into the pit lane. Julian heads back into the pit lane as Juxel is getting ready to start his lap. No, he heads into the pit lane. Then it's Janssen who's getting ready to start a lap, and Davy behind, championship leader with 25 points. So he can only lose the lead of the championship if his championship rival scores the win and the fastest lap of the race. And if you're wondering who his championship rival is, that's Julian at the moment. Oh, sorry, no, Julian's 22 points behind. So Julian in P2, Black Box in P3, he's 25 points behind. As Janssen sets the fastest first sector time of any of the drivers. Let's go aboard with Janssen through Bussel and onto the no-name corner. As I think Stev is now about to complete his lap. Stev with an invalidated lap, no, is starting his lap. And Sven once again going for another run. As Jerry van Bussel comes into the pit lane, as is the teammate of Janssen, and that's FRL Robin. Janssen 14.4, second sector timing. And I think that will be good enough for second place, second, third, maybe 43.0. If he can complete the bus stop chicane without any problems. Accelerating out of the bus stop chicane but hitting the curb, and that wasn't the best exit, and it goes P5, loses a few tenths at the bus stop chicane as Davy goes P2, 42.6, can't beat Cameron on P1. And Van Bergen heading back into the pit lane. And Ball on his run now. Let's go on board with the Williams driver. Foster's first sector, 30.1. Was that ideal? That didn't look ideal, and I think he'll abort that lap. Yes, he does abort the lap. And Ferrens on his way to complete his lap. Ferrens goes a 42.4 and goes provisional P1 ahead of his ECOS teammate Cameron. Not teammates by constructor meanings, but by their league names. So both ECOS drivers, 1 and 2 for the moment. The Mercedes pairing on their way to start a lap, on board with Milan, with Black Box in front. He will start his lap first, and after him it will be Milan who will start a lap. Let's go on board with Milan as we see his Mercedes teammate in front. Braking at the 100 meter boards, hitting the apex for the Lassours hairpin and onto Rouge and Radion. It's flat out easy in a Formula 1 car, and so in the game. And onto the Camel Straight, and we might see some mighty battles here today. And some people complain that the Camel Straight is maybe too good of a place to overtake. So is DRS even needed on the Camel Straight? Some people are just wondering that even in real life Formula 1. Because drivers can't defend whatsoever if a car has enough DRS and ERS. Milan taking the esports driving line by going onto the green AstroTurf. And through the chicanes he goes. And fun fact, on the right hand side is a karting track, the karting track of Spa-Francorchamps. And you can even see it in the game by going off camera while in theater mode. And of course, in time trial, when you zoom out of the car, you can see the karting track. So Milan almost ready to complete his lap, but his teammate Black Box is going to complete his lap first. So Black Box from P15 without a time will go P6, and his Mercedes teammate will go P6 after Black Box. So Black Box now P7, and there's only 8 1/1000ths of a second in it between the Mercedes drivers. Okay, so that's pretty close between the pair of them. Julian behind P8 and his teammate Juxo P13 with a 43.3. Just completed his lap. And it's Borrell ready to start another lap. As Jerry van Bussel is on his out lap. And I think, yes, Janssen is on his way to complete a lap. He's P12 at the moment. What can he do? He will go P6, so beats Milan to P6 with a 42.8. Then it's the McLaren of Davy on his way to complete lap, but it has been invalidated. Let's just see what he could have done. It is a 42.435, and that would be 0.02 of a second faster than Ference in P1. So that would have been P1 if the lap wouldn't have been invalidated. So still P3 for Davy. He will be safely through as he cuts Eau Rouge. Julian without any fuel left whatsoever, so threw a bunch of them at a snail's pace of what he normally would do. And behind him, Milan and Black Box just battling it out on track. Why not? Heading into the pit lane, both Mercedes teammates. Oh, Black Box hitting the wall a little bit, and Julian of Milan as well. That doesn't matter because the damage that will have been made will be replaced, or will be fixed. Let's go on board with Yuxel. He heads into the pit lane now. And behind, Davy on his way to the pits, while Janssen takes a very weird place to let Davy through. Davy not even being on a hot lap. As Mika is in the pit lane. Meneer van den Berg on an outlap and Robin on an outlap. Janssen, Yuri saw. So a lot of people on their in-laps and out-laps. None currently on a hot lap, it seems. No driver currently on his hot lap. But Robin will go for his hot lap right now in the Ferrari. The number 27 Ferrari. Braking for the Lasso's hairpin, hitting the apex on the inside and accelerating 5th, 6th, 7th gear through Eau Rouge. He goes right now up to Radion and to the Camel Straight he goes. No track limit now. Activating the DRS, and then it's a long straight down towards the Lecombe chicane. And he has to be wary of, as he is 1/1000th of a second slower than he was before. As I said before, as he has to be wary of the track limits coming out of the chicanes. And we saw he didn't get invalidation whatsoever, so Ephemeral Robin continues on his way. As Robin did want to take the esports line, but invalidates in the process, so this lap will be invalid. Then it's Ball. Damiano has joined back into the session, so welcome Damiano to the Belgian Grand Prix. He was later than he was supposed to be, but he has joined, and he is now into the session. As Ference and Mika have retired, they know they are safe. Who are not safe are Jars, he's out already, Fruitful, who hasn't completed a lap yet, and Borrell, who hasn't completed a lap as well, non-valid anyway. Damiano in P15, is safe without a lap, but that surely will change when Borrell and Fruitful will have set a lap time. And the first of those drivers, Fruitful, now on his lap in the white Red Bull special livery from Turkey, paying homage to Honda. And through Eau Rouge and Radion. And onto the Camel Straight it goes. A nice detail. The driver number being in a red dot. Red dot, of course, being from the flag of Japan. Land of the rising sun. No track limit for Fruitful and heads to the Bruxelles corner. And on towards No Name. Will he take the esports line? He won't, so he won't risk it. And I don't think it's worth the risk taking that esports line when you don't, if you haven't mastered it, because you can easily get an invalidation there. As it looks like a tight lap from Fruitful at the moment. Second sector meeting 14.3, middle sector purple according to the map. Don't know if we have to believe that, I don't think so. But he will be the first driver now over the line to set a lap time for the drivers on the track. Behind him is the two Aston Martins. And both Aston Martins on a lap. Oh, as Fruitful hits the curb going into the bus stop chicane, but it's a 42. Oh no, it's a 43.0. Puts him P11 on the grid. I think that will put him safe. Yüksel has invalidated lap time, and his teammate in front also has invalidated lap time. So they will go for another run. They don't have time to go into the pit lane as Julian heads into the pit lane, so he doesn't have enough fuel for a second run. What will his teammate Yüksel do? He will go into the pit lane as well. So Yüksel risking being knocked out here in Q1 if Sven, Damiano and Bol can set a lap time. Borrell, the first of the drivers, able to knock Yüksel into a lower position. Will Borrell go ahead of Yüksel? Yes, he will. Yüksel into P15. Sven now out, but Sven on a lap as we speak. 1/10 faster than he was previously. Damiano ahead of Sven will set a lap time before Sven will. What can Damiano do? He's P17 now. He doesn't have a lap time. Onto the line we go. And it's a 42.7, puts him P4. Yüksel out of qualifying here at Belgium. Then Robin, also at the risk of being knocked out here of Q1. Sven onto the line, and it's a 43.0, puts him P13, and crucially knocks Robin out of qualifying. So Robin, Yüksel, and Jars on the cusp of elimination. Meneer van den Bergen is not eliminated, but Robin, Yüksel, and Jars have been eliminated here at Q1. Meneer van den Bergen saved by exactly 1/10 of a second. And fastest for the two ECOS drivers, Ferenc and Cameron. Ferenc a bit more than a 10th faster than Cameron. And behind them it's the TFL duo in the McLaren, the papaya orange cars. Davy ahead of Damiano. Then it's Mika, Jerry van Bussel, TFL Janssen in P7. Mercedes teammates Milan and Blackbox through with B8 and 9 respectively. Then it's Borrell completing the top 10. And then it's Julian, Steph, Sven, Fruitful, Meneer van den Bergen through to Q2. But big surprise for me is Jars not even being able to set a lap. As we wait for Borrell to go into the pit lane and finish this qualifying session. Yes. So interesting. At the end of Q1, we saw Yüksel being eliminated in the Aston Martin. As well as Robin in the Ferrari. And Jaws and the Red Bull eliminated. And you can see Steph, Borrell and Sven both having used 2 sets of tires, so they won't have fresh tires for the start of Q2 if they choose to use the one set from Q1. And down towards P14 is 0.6 of a second, and all drivers within a second up to the elimination zone of P16. As we get ready for Q2 here at Spa-Francorchamps. As we wait for Ecos Cameron. Second in Q1, what can he do in Q2? And I hope Cameron will load into the session. Or we just have to be patient, or I think there's a problem with the connection of Cameron. So that would mean he would have to disconnect from the session. I think it has resolved itself. Yes, the problem has resolved itself, and we are ready to start Q2 here in Belgium. Q2, essential for the starting compound for the top 10. So everyone qualifying for Q3 will start on the tire that they set their fastest lap with in Q2. As the Alpine of meneer Van den Bergen and Mika, yes, both head out first. So both Alpines really quick to go out. Might be a strategy to give each other slipstream on the Camel Straight. Who knows? As behind the Ferrari of Janssen, the sole Ferrari left in this qualifying session is out as well. So 3 cars on the grid, as Steph is on the grid as well, on the track as well. Hey, Yagizan has joined into the session. Yagizan not being on time for Q1 will have to start from the back of the grid, so that will be interesting to watch his progress. And of course, staying out of trouble at the La Suez hairpin is vital for his race. And let's go on board with Mika, as he is the first driver to go for his run here in Q2 on the soft compound. So let's watch the different tire compounds now. Tires. So Janssen, Borrell, Fruitful, Davy, Steph, Cameron, Milan and Ferens all on the medium compound of tire. And Damiano, meneer Van den Bergen, Jerry van Bussel, Sven, Julian, Mika and Blackbox on the soft compound. So that's a mix-up. And that will prove interesting if some of the medium runners will go through to Q3, sorry. As Mika starts his lap now. So let's once again turn off the different tire compounds. VR Mika up the hill onto the Camel Straight. It activates DRS. Takes the shortest line onto the next part of the track. It's 30.3 after the first sector. Keeps it within the track limits. No, he doesn't. Mika losing the car and invalidating his run at the exit of the chicanes. Then let's head to his teammate, meneer Van den Bergen. He is still on his run. Doesn't look like a tidy run from the shot on board we saw. Through Pouan, awesome corner to take in the game. And of course in real life. Just be wary that you might spin if you hit any curb at Pouan. So staying off the curbs is essential. 14.8 after the second sector. We've seen a lot faster in Q1. So if Meneer van den Bergen can't find the pace, I think he will be one of the prospects to go out here in Q2. If he can't improve his lap time after this run, because I don't think this run will necessarily be one of the best runs. No, 43.3, definitely not very fast. As Janssen in the Ferrari on the medium compound heads to the finish line, 43.8. 5/10 of a second slower than Meneer van den Bergen, but of course Meneer van den Bergen being on the soft compound of tire. Then it's Steph heading towards the line now on the medium tire as well, 43.7, 1/10 faster than Janssen. As Borrell goes P2 on the medium tire, 43.5. So Meneer van den Bergen with not the tidiest run as Cameron heads to the line. Provisional P1 on the medium tire as Sven immediately jumps him. Provisional P1, but on the soft compound. And then it's Milan to the finish line. He has invalidated his run, but Black Box is going for a 1P3 in the championship. Let's go on board with the man from the United Kingdom, IFR Black Box in the Mercedes. Oh, very close to the line on the medium tire as well. As Red Bull First Four comes over the line, as do the McLaren teammates of Damiano and Davy. Davy having not a particularly good lap time will start his lap now, as is Damiano. Black Box 30.5 for the first sector. We saw a 30.3 I think from Meneer van den Bergen, as Black Box has invalidated his run and is off the throttle. 30.5, not especially good. Let's go to the Aston Martin of Julian. He will be out on his hot lap now. There are a few cars behind going to complete their hot lap, as Julian is now starting his hot lap. As Mika goes P3, 43.3. Oh, Julian losing a rear a little bit. P2 in the championship, 22 points behind Davy in the Papaya McLaren. As Jerry van Bussel goes P1. 42.6 is the first 42 in this qualifying session on the soft compound. So it's a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo, but both drivers on the soft compound. As the Mercedes duo, will they both head into the pit lane? No, Milan will complete his lap, 43.8. As there's yellow flags. I think that was an Alpine Lecombe that spun around. And the McLaren drivers will complete their laps now. Davy goes P5, 43.3. And Damiano goes up 43.6. I think both of them were on the medium tire. But will those runs be good enough for Q3? As Julian sets a 15.1 after the second sector. Not particularly quick, but remember, he's on the medium tire. Through Blanchimont he goes now. Flat, of course. In the dry, in the wet, I think it's flat. It's not easy flat. Julian out of the bus stop, completes his lap now. It will be a 43.8, and that's not good enough for Q3. So Julian has to do another run if he wants to go through to Q3. Meneer Van den Bergen into the pit lane, and Mika going slowly on his way to the pit lane because he doesn't have enough fuel. Black Box is on a run on the medium tire, 14.6. I think that will put him in the range of a 0.3, 0.2. So maybe P4, P5 if he can get a good run through the bus stop. Doesn't hit the curbs, might be a choice to do so. It's a 43.3, goes P5 in the Mercedes. Exactly the same time as Davy, and we saw this last week, where the driver that first set the lap time is being demoted one position down. So Davy, having set the lap time earlier, is demoted to P6. And that's very weird, I have to say. So Davy, once again, as we talk about him, on the medium tire, and his teammate Damiano going into the pit lane. Will Davy head in the pit lane as well? Yes, he will. And what will Milan do behind? Milan will head into the pit lane as well. Julian, not with enough fuel anymore, has to drive slowly to the pits. So, as the first round of hot laps have been set, it's Steph, Julian, Milan, Janssen and Fruitful in the danger zone, but Fruitful not having set a lap time so far. And it's pretty close at the bottom end of the leaderboard. It's just 2 tenths from P10 to P14. So that can be the difference between elimination and going through to Q3. But let's look at the different compound of tires that have been used. Cameron, a really respectable lap time of 43.0 on the mediums, with Black Box and Davy both on the medium tires, 43.3 to 0 as we said earlier, but both on the medium tires as well. As we spectate Fruitful as he heads out for his sole run here in Q2. And he is on the soft tire, so doesn't believe he can get through on the medium tire, or doesn't believe the medium tire is the better strategy here at Spa-Francorchamps. The Alpine of Meneer Van den Bergen letting through Fruitful. As all drivers are either in the pit lane or on their out lap now. And Janssen, the first one of the drivers out at the moment, to start his hot lap in the Ferrari, the number 2 Ferrari, going through the bus stop, going to the right hand side to get an ideal run up to the finish line to start his hot lap. Activating the DRS and onto the first braking point of the circuit, the La Source hairpin. And now on towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And he goes flat out through the corner, 190 miles per hour for our British viewers. Now onto the Camel Straight, DRS wide open, more than 11,000 RPM. And he does set purple in sector 1, and I believe that's a legitimate purple sector. Janssen stays close to the inside of Roussel. On towards the no-name corner, short shift to 4th, 5th, 6th, and on towards Pouan. Doesn't take the esports line, doesn't hit the curb on the inside, and goes through safely. He is P14 at the moment, so he has to put his lap together. As Jerry van Bussel has retired from the session, he believes he is safe in P1 with a 42.6. But Janssen on his way to improve by 8 tenths of a second as he heads wide and he crashes. Oh no! Janssen out of qualifying because I believe he has damage. Yes, he has damage. Left front end plate is not on. So that means Janssen is off and is out of qualifying. Oh no, Fruitful almost invalidating his run, his sole run in Q2. But that was utter disappointment from Janssen, who was improving by 8 tenths of a second. That would have put him P4 on the grid, P3 maybe, if it could have been the time of Cameron in the Haas. Fruitful now, P15. Will he get out of the bottom 5? On towards the bus stop chicane. As Damiano starts his lap right now. Janssen is out on the track as Fruitful sets P1. A 42.5 goes fastest of all. So he is now P1 in this qualifying session, and it's not a Alfa Romeo 1-2 anymore. Janssen 1.2 seconds slower than he was before, as VER Mika now goes 142.2. Well, that's utter disappointment for Janssen, who's out of qualifying. I think it's Borrell now heading towards the finish line. Yes, in the Williams. As Sven is starting his hot lap now. Borrell will go P2, improves by 1.1 seconds. That's the difference between the tire compounds. I think it's Julian going for a run. Oh, Julian having invalidated his run. Does he have another chance? Yeah, yes, he has another chance to set a lap time. Then the Mercedes of Milan towards the finish line goes provisional P1, 42.1, and the times are tumbling down here in Q2. Black box now towards the finish line, 8 tenths quicker at the Sector 2 meeting. Sector 2, yeah. P3 now for Black box, and Jerry, has he chosen to do the worst thing possible, not going out and at risk of being knocked out? Steph is definitely knocked out. He's P12 on the medium tire. Then Damiano improves, goes P7, so knocks Jerry one more place down. Janssen is out of qualifying. Davy is improving on his soft tires, not having the best run, and is now 3 tenths quicker, so he can go a 43.0 if he can get this lap together. Meneer Van den Bergen not wanting to improve, so definitely wants to start on the medium tire. Ferrens now goes to the line P4, so Ferrens through to the next part of qualifying. Davy trying to push for the line, goes P9. Sven on the cusp of elimination, but there is Cameron and he's improving on the soft tire. So does this mean it's game over for Sven? Will he be knocked out of qualifying? Yes, he will. Sven knocked out of qualifying by Cameron in the Haas. So it's Sven, Meneer Van den Bergen, Steph, Julian and Janssen out of qualifying in Q2. And Sven knocked out by Cameron in the Haas, by Cameron switching over to the soft compound. And now we see a different picture with Milan and Black Box in P1 and P3 instead of P8 and P9. And if they can do that in Q3, they will be happy. It's Mika in the Mercedes sandwich for now. Ferrens in P4, Ball in P5, Fruitful in P6, Damiano in P7, Cameron in P8, Jerry van Bussel in P9 and Davy in P10. It was just enough for the championship leader to get through into Q3. Let's look, while we wait for the results, on which tire compound everyone has qualified. Are there drivers through to Q3 on the medium tire? No. No driver through to Q3 on the medium tire. So everyone in the top 10 will start on the soft compound. So it's Milan from Mika from Black Box, Ferrens in P4, then Borrell, Fruitful, Damiano, Cameron, Jerry van Bussel and Davy in P10. And all drivers within 8 tenths of a second. And place your bets in the comment section. Who do you think is going to take pole position here at Spa. My bet, I think it will be one of the Mercedes drivers. I'm not sure. It's so close. Oh, as Blackbox, as we talk about the Mercedes drivers, has left the session. What has happened to Blackbox? That might be some connection problems, but it means he has the opportunity to join back into the session once again. But on such a long circuit as Spa, it might be crucial for the amount of runs he can do, which most commonly will be 2 runs. As Fruitful in the Red Bull heads out, as is the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo of Mika and Jerry respectively. So post in the comments, who do you think is going to take pole position here at Spa-Francorchamps? Will it be a surprise pole sitter like we've seen before here in TFL, or will it be one of the championship protagonists? As most of the drivers are heading out for their first run, the only driver to be in the pit lane at the moment is Blackbox, and he will try to join back into the session. Let's see if we can invite him back. So let's search for Blackbox in the case he doesn't have an invite yet. So it doesn't look like we can invite Blackbox at the moment. Oh, he's heading out to the, onto the track now. Nice, he has joined back into the session. So Blackbox out onto the circuit. As we watch Mika, the first one to go for his hot lap. The all-important hot lap here in Q3. They are going for pole position here around Spa. And Mika locking up into the Lassus hairpin and going now with the throttle down through Eau Rouge and Radion and to the Camel Straight. DRS open, full power, and onto the Lecombe chicanes. It's a 30.1, so a bit faster than we saw in Q2, of course, with everyone on the softer compound. Stays within the track limits. Now, doesn't lock up, going through Bruxelles. And now to the no-name corner. Takes the corner nicely, but will it be an invalidation? It will be an invalidation for Mika. So Mika not going for a faster lap time now. Jerry van Bussel also has invalidated his run. Fruitful hasn't, so he will be the first, if he doesn't invalidate his run, he will be the first to set a lap time. Jerry in front has to go out of the way in the Alfa Romeo and does so. Very carefully takes the curbs because he knows they are very dangerous around this track. 13.9 out of the second sector, and that's not a bad lap time at all. So what can Fruitful do here in the all-important Q3? He will set the fastest lap time, of course, being the first car to set a lap time. Just a bit of a lock-up going through the bus-up chicane might have cost him a few temps, but it will be a 42.4 for provisional pole for Fruitful. Then it's the Haas of Cameron going 42.0, taking away the provisional pole from Fruitful. And the next car over the line will be Damiano. He has a 13.8 out of the second sector. What will it be? A 42.2 2 attempts down from Cameron on pole position. And then it's a ball with an invalidated lap, so he won't go for the pole position. But Ference in P10 is also not going for pole position. And we saw Davey having spun around or going slowly. But it's definitely Milan going slowly and having spun around. Then let's look on board with Black Box, because I think he is going for a fast run now. A 13.6 out of the second sector, and this is the teamwork you want to see. Milan giving a slipstream to his teammate Black Box in the Mercedes. Both Mercedes drivers working perfectly together here, and this will surely be a very fast run for Black Box. He takes the apex of the bus stop chicane, and what will it be? Will it be the first 41 in this qualifying session? It will be a 41.7 provisional pole for the Mercedes driver, as Milan heads back into the pit lane. So both Mercedes drivers playing the team game perfectly here. As I think Fruitful will head into the pit lane. Jerry van Bussel, I think, will also head into the pit lane. And then it's Nika, if it did his run, will also head in the pit lane, most likely. Cameron on low fuel, yes, on low fuel, and getting out of the way of Damiano in the McLaren, who also has invalidated his run and has already set a lap time on the soft compound of tires. Behind, it's Borrell. He is not on a fast run. 21 point something out of the second sector. And Black Box is completing his run. So only 4 drivers having set a lap time here in Q3, with the most unlikely driver of the 10 that we have here on provisional pole position because of his disconnection at the beginning of this session. So Black Box on provisional pole might not be what he had expected after being thrown out of the session, as Ference is on his out lap and Black Box most likely on his in lap. Yes, he heads into the pit lane. So let's go on board with Ference. I think, surely enough, one of the drivers who you can bet is able to take pole position here. And nonetheless, who takes pole, this will surely be an interesting race. Because of Yagi-san coming from the back, because of Jars coming from the back. Both drivers having the pace to get a good result. And both starting from the back. Jars because he has been disqualified from Q1. And Yagi-san because he joined later into the session. So they will share the last row of the grid as Ference prepares for his hot lap in Q3. Going over the line now and starts his lap, braking just after the 100 meters, taking the apex perfectly at the Lassus hairpin now. And then it's all down to the engine. Full power to the Lecombe chicanes. DRS open, giving you that extra bit of speed on the Camel Straight. And then it's the all-important braking zone for Lecombe. 30.2 after the first sector. We've seen a 30.1, so might not be the fastest first sector, but then can all be undone here in the second sector. Can he improve the pole position time that stands now of 41.7? That will be a hard task. Because of the teamwork from both Mercedes drivers. They have timed it absolutely perfectly to give Black Box now the provisional P1. This is a tight lap though from Ference, so will he be able to challenge for pole position, taking a curb very heavily. And now it's a 13.6. We saw that time with Black Box. It's purple in the second sector. But now the difference. Black Box had the slipstream. Ferenc does not have the slipstream. What difference will it make? They were equal on time. After the second sector, what will the time of Ferenc be? Will he be able to challenge for pole position? Here at Spa-Francorchamps, he heads down towards the start finish line. He will go P3, 42.0 behind Cameron. So he goes 2 and 3 here in Belgium. Fruitful on an outlap, and both Mercedes drivers on... no, Milan was on a run, and Black Box on an outlap. And look at that Black Box. Oh, that is not the best timing from Black Box. They wanted to give each other slipstream. So Milan wanted slipstream from Black Box, but Black Box obviously didn't time it too perfectly, which means Milan had to do his final run without a slipstream. But will it be good enough for the front row? No, it will be P4. And now Black Box will start his final lap, and I think the bit of teamwork will continue here, because Milan can slow down for Black Box. Will he do that to give Black Box a slipstream on the Camel Straight? No, he won't. Maybe he will do it later in the lap. But Jerry van Bussel, oh no, invalidating his run right at the end of the lap, which means his next lap is invalidated as well. So Jerry van Bussel not being able to set a lap time. Davy on his outlap, as well as Damiano. Damiano now starting his lap. Davy is now starting his lap, just behind. Then, behind we have, yes, Burrow going for a line, 13.5 after the second sector. That's not too bad after all, and he goes P2 in the Williams. Then, it's Ecos Cameron starting his lap, and Ferenc starting his lap as well. And Fruitful goes P3 with a 42.0. So he qualifies ahead of Cameron for the moment. But Cameron, of course, still on his run. And Fruitful has retired from the session, as qualifying has ended here at Spa. So once they head over the line, it will be qualifying done. Milan giving a slipstream to Black Box once again. Oh, Milan going, as that's a bit of cheeky move, giving slipstream, full slipstream to Black Box, as Black Box cannot improve by 0.3 of a second, giving full slipstream but going onto the runoff area. That means Milan has sacrificed his lap for the sake of Black Box, but Black Box still in P1. The next driver to head onto the finish line is Damiano. Damiano having invalidated his run, giving a bit of a slipstream to Davy. And Davy is now trying to set the fastest lap time here in qualifying. And behind, I think that Jerry van Bussel, who is not able to set a lap time. It's a 42.1, P6 for Davy. P6 for the championship leader, as Ferenc has spun around at the far end of the circuit and is certainly not able to improve his lap time. And Borrell not able to improve his lap time as well, because he's all over the 1 minute 50. Yes, he heads into the pit lane. So this is your grid for round 7. It's Black Box with his teamwork with Milan on pole position with a 141.776 and exactly 100th of a second. Oh, we missed that actually. I think I missed that. Cameron on P2, 100th down from Black Box. So it's pretty close at the top. But it's a front row of Mercedes and Haas. The Mercedes of Black Box on pole position, making a statement. He wants to get back into the championship battle, being 25 points exactly down on the championship leader. So a win is welcome for Black Box. Cameron down in P2. 100th of a second down. That's very close around Spa-Francorchamps. Awesome to see. Burrell in P3 in the Williams. Then it's Fruitful P4. Ferens in P5. Williams P3 and 5. I think they're happy about that. Then TFL Davy, our championship leader in the McLaren P6. And then a few other cars which I wasn't fast enough to see. But we are getting ready for the all-important race here at Spa. So in the comments, please say, who do you think is going to win here at Spa-Francorchamps? I'm betting it's gonna be Cameron. I'm seeing it now. Cameron will win the Belgium Grand Prix, and Blackbox and Davy will complete the podium. So, what's your bet? Say it in the comments. We might see if you're right, but will it be maybe one of the guys from the back of the grid? So, Yagizan, Yars, what do you think they are going to do? It's an interesting race for sure, as the sky looks a bit cloudy. Is there maybe a chance of rain in this session? We'll see once we get underway. But first, the formation lap. Lights out, and that means Blackbox is on his way for the formation lap. 44 laps for the real Grand Prix. Half distance in TFL. So that means 22 laps for a race distance. Let's look at the different tire compounds everyone has been using. Oh, all on the soft tire except for Steph and Juxel. And that tells me one thing, that there might be a chance of rain, and that they're trying to get that soft tire to the rain and then switch maybe to intermediates, but maybe I'm just too fast to say that it's going to rain. We don't know for sure. But only 2 drivers on the medium tire, so that's interesting. Longest lap on the calendar, 7.001 kilometers, or 7,001 meter exactly. I think there's a chance of rain. It really looks like it. And that might be something to watch out for, as Blackbox is getting ready to go towards the finish line, as Ferens was disqualified from the session, which does mean his tires will lose temperature as he is standing on the grid. That might not be the best thing for the race start. Of course, having warm tires is essential for a good getaway, as Blackbox is being taken over by the AI. And all the drivers behind him as well. I have a feeling this will be a very special race at Belgium. So Yagzan, P19, Yars, P18. Fast drivers at the back of the grid. Blackbox, 25 points down in the championship on pole position. Championship leader TFL Davy on P6. It is looking like an interesting race already. But as we get ready for the lights to go on and to go off, to get on the way for the Belgium Grand Prix. And the lights are now on. 5 lights on. Lights are out and they're on the way, and it's a good start from the Williams driver of Barrel Hughes, already in front of the Haas driver. Fruitful on the inside, is getting through into P3 as well. Can he get through to P2? No, he doesn't. He slots in behind the Williams driver. But an awesome start from Burrell, and Cameron losing 2 positions already. Then it's Fruitful in P3, Cameron in P4, Davy and Damiano in P5 and 6. But will they swap positions? It's Milan in P6. Side by side with the McLaren of Damiano, and Burrell heads into the lead of the Belgium Grand Prix. Black Box being overtaken at the Lecombe chicane. Black Box in P2, Burrell in P1, Fruitful in P3, momentarily into P2. And Cameron still in P4. No safety car whatsoever, but Juxel has spun around at the end of the grid and is in P19. So Burrell leading the Grand Prix as Jars has spun around in the Red Bull. No, from the backhand of the grid. Made a mistake. And now spun around as it's Milan. Milan is also round in the Mercedes. Oh no. So a lot of drivers making mistakes on the first lap, taking themselves out of contention. But Burrell, what a mighty start he had, coming from P3, going into P1 as Milan, once again, off the grid, off the circuit. As Sven and Mika are fighting with each other out of the bus stop chicane, they make a little bit of contact, and now Mika is back in front, and Steph is trying to get a move on Sven as well. Steph now into P10 momentarily, as Sven gets past once again on the soft compound. Difference between Steph and Sven on the medium and the soft, and Steph side by side. Oh no! Sven has been spun around by making contact with Steph at Eau Rouge. Side by side through Eau Rouge. That never ends well, as we saw here. Sven spun around as Milan and Juxel into the pit lane. And it's very close for the lead. Black Box on the rear of Burrell, on the rear of the Williams. Can he make a move? At an unconventional place as Julian and Meneer van den Bergen are also fighting. Julian getting through into P11 at Bruxelles. So good start from the Aston Martin driver Julian, going slow through Puron though. Also being overtaken immediately by Meneer van den Bergen, as the train that has been formed is very close at the moment. Ferrans in P7, oh no! Almost losing his car, trying to get on the power as early as possible, and now side by side with Damiano through Blanchimont. Is he getting ahead of Damiano? They make contact at Blanchimont, but the Williams driver is ahead. Will he brake later though? Yes, he will. And they're still side by side with the Williams driver. Will win out on this one as Damiano heads up the track and now is in P7. Just ahead of Jerry van Bussel, who's still on the outside of Damiano. And Damiano is still in front. But let's head to the front of the grid, because now Black Box has the DRS. Is he able to overtake Burrell for the lead? He now opens his DRS and is in the slipstream of Burrell. He is side by side with Burrell and now is past Burrell. So Black Box once again into the lead of the Belgium Grand Prix. Burrell being demoted to P2. Fruitful into P3 still. Could make a move there. Black Box heads wide at Bruxelles, and that's something you see often. Overtakes being made at the Camel Straight, as we said in qualifying as well. But it's absolutely essential. Oh no, did we saw that on the screen? Yes, certainly. It's raining at Belgium. It's a wet race, people. So, rain here at Belgium. When are they coming into the pit lane for the intermediate tires? Will they continue on for one more lap, or will people box now as Damiano loses his car, possibly due to the rainy conditions on track, as Black Box already created a 1 second gap to Burrell. Let's go to Black Box. What will he do? I think he will continue for one more lap. Yes, he will. No car into the pit lane as of now. Jerry van Bussel and Mika are side by side. Oh, Jerry van Bussel going very wide. Damiano making a mistake, it looks like. Jerry van Bussel side by side with Mika. And now past Mika. As he got a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner at the final, cutting the track limits at the final corner. Now Fruitful in the slipstream of Cameron. It seems like Cameron got past Fruitful on the final, the last lap. Now Fruitful back into P3, but Davy, the championship leader, is now side by side with Fruitful, but Fruitful defends the position well, and now still is in P3. As it's raining heavier and heavier, and Jerry van Bussel is out of the Grand Prix. Yellow flags, and it's a safety car. And that surely means the entire field will box for intermediates as the rainy conditions are intensifying. Jerry van Bussel out of the Grand Prix after crashing at Les Combes. So that will put Yüksel, Milan back into contention. As we see Yüksel into the pit lane, immediately boxing for the intermediate tires. Milan in P17 just overtook Jerry. And I think this certainly was the lap to box anyway. Yüksel getting past the safety car now. Oh, Yüksel almost taking a track limit here on the safety car conditions. So why is Black Box going slowly? Maybe he doesn't want to lose his car in the rainy conditions. As the entire field heads into the pit lane, boxing for the intermediate compound. Is there anyone who wants to continue? Oh, Damiano losing his car in the pit lane. That lets you see how wet the track is at the moment. Yagizan into the pit lane. Sven now going into the pit lane. Milan on the medium tires. Shirley goes into the pit lane as well. And as we look, Black Box still leading the Grand Prix from Borrell, Fruitful, Davy, and Cameron the top 5. So Cameron momentarily into P3, demoted now to P5. After maybe overtaking at a place that was not the smartest move to be made. Because as you could see, overtaking at the Camel Straight is really easy. Fruitful was able to complete the move on Cameron fairly easily. And Cameron losing a position to TFL Davy as well. I guess if he would have waited few corners to overtake Fruitful, he would be in P3 now by overtaking Fruitful at the Camel Straight a few laps ago. But he didn't choose to do that. But still, Cameron in P5, Davy in P4, Fruitful P3, Borrell P2 after making an awesome start, and Black Box in P1. And the Mercedes of Milan back at the end of the train if he completes this sequence of corners, and then Bruxelles and No Name corner. Yüksel now on the Camel Straight, so they are back into contention. As Damiano and Johnson have a penalty. Let's look at the penalties. 6 seconds and 3 seconds. So Damiano taking multiple track limits at the start of the race, resulting in 6 seconds of penalties. So at least 6 track limits warnings. As 5 out of the 22 laps have been completed. Most of the time a track where the safety car in real life shows up. And let's look back at the starting incident of 2018, where Fernando Alonso was launched over the top of Charles Leclerc's Sauber by Nico Hulkenberg, getting into the back of Fernando Alonso's McLaren. And such incidents happening in 2012 as well, also involving Fernando Alonso, which arguably cost him the 2012 World Championship to Vettel. But that's all looking back of the past. Now it's looking back, looking in front to the new race. I think this race is a lot better than the real life race we've had in Spa-Francorchamps this year at least. Also rainy conditions here, as was the conditions in Spa in real life, but a little bit less intense in the game. And luckily we are able to drive and race today, as was not possible in real life. Yuxel now at the end of the train, so he has closed up. Is this black box on the medium tires? Surely black box on the medium tires? Is he predicting the rain is going to stop and the track is going to dry up, or has he made a wrong move in the pit lane? That's very interesting. You love to see those decisions being made, but this medium tires on the damp track, he might throw away a win here, and gifting the lead to Bottle, and P2 to Fruitful, and P3 to Davy, and so on, if the conditions worsen or stay like this. So that's a very interesting move. And I think the safety car is in this lap. Yes, it is. You see race control saying the safety car will be in this lap. So Black Box with a very interesting strategy, channeling his inner Jarno Opmeer to go on the medium tire on a wet surface. I'm still a bit amazed by the things I see at the moment. Let's look at the different tire compounds. Yes, he's the only one on the dry tires. So let's look if he can hold the position, or will he head into the pit lane. What will Black Box do? Oh, he can't steer at all. Yes, he will head into the pit lane. No! So that means Bottle will start the next lap instead of Black Box. So he's promoted into P1 in the Williams. Then it's Fruitful, Davy, Julian side by side with Cameron, going for the move at the La Suez hairpin as Cameron loses the rear of his Haas, and Julian into P4. Being knocked out in Q1, now into P4 as he almost loses his car. And now trying to make a move on Davy, but Cameron in the Haas is trying to do the same then. Davy defending onto Lecombe. Will Julian go around the outside of the McLaren? No, he won't. So Davy still in P3, but the Haas of Cameron trying to make a move on Julian, but he can't as of yet. It's Bowl 1 second away from Fruitful in P2. Then it's Davy, Julian, Cameron once again side by side with Julian. Now going out the outside of the no-name corner, Julian holding on to 4th position. And Ferenc in the Williams and Mika in front in the Alpine are looking at the battle and want to profit from any mistakes made by these drivers. As Davy closes up to the rear of the Red Bull in front, he looks to a chance to extend his championship lead. As Milan gets a 3-second time penalty in the Mercedes in P16. Oh, Black Box, I'm still a bit amazed by the strategy or by the wrong decision he made. So awful for him. Throwing away what would have been almost surely a podium position, as Robin and Steph are side by side. Steph in front now of the Ferrari. And let's look at P2 and P1 in the championship, because this is the battle on track for the championship. Julian in P2, Davy in P3. Julian having shown some moments of brilliance in the league as of yet, but not being able to convert it to the best possible points paying positions. Davy trying to get slipstream as Milan has a DNF. No, coming out of Radion, and it's a safety car once again by the Mercedes of Milan spinning at Radion. It means Black Box is now back at the end of the pack, but one of the Mercedes cars is out of the Grand Prix, and once again the safety car is out. Okay, so that I don't think will change anything in this race for now. I don't think anyone will box for new intermediates because of the low tire wear on this game for those wet compounds and the intermediate compounds. So I think every driver will stay out on track. Or might anyone fancy a run on the dry compounds in the hope that it will dry up fast enough when the safety car heads in? And the first one to make that choice will be Borrell, who's currently leading the Grand Prix in his Williams. Shifting down into second gear. Will he head into the pit lane? No, he won't. And I guess none of the front runners will make that choice as well. No, everyone's staying out. And everyone having closed up to the pack, but I think the safety car will remain out for this lap and the next lap. So we've had a few laps on the safety car conditions now here at Spa, both due to crashes. One from Jerry van Bussel at Lecom and one from Milan at Radion. And it's a Williams leading here. So Ball was driving away from Fruitful. Of course, with the safety car his lead has been cut down to only a few tenths of a second, because they all have to line up behind the safety car. And Jars into P10 in the Red Bull, having made an awful start from the back of the pack. But he is now in the points paying positions. The same can't be said for Yagizan in the AlphaTauri. He's still in P14. But at least he's still in the race. The same can't be said for Milan and Yeri. Yuxel in P17, and then Black Box with his tire choice, let's say that, in P16. As TFL Damiano gets a 5-second time penalty. Severe collision with Meneer van den Bergen. Just stay behind each other, guys. Just don't touch on the safety car conditions. It's such a stupid thing to do, because it gives you a time penalty that could have been avoided. Just have a certain car length between the driver in front and the driver behind you. Car lengths. I don't think the safety car will head in this lap. No, we will continue for one more lap behind the safety car. And of course, in real life, we've seen some awful crashes here at Spa in rainy conditions. And the last one I can remember. Oh, and we see a gambler, a few gamblers. Meneer van den Bergen and Damiano. Oh, I think they both head in the pit lane to remove their 5-second time penalty. I think that's what they're trying to do. Let's look if they have different tire compounds ready. It's intermediates for Damiano and intermediates as well for Meneer van den Bergen. So trying to get their 5 seconds removed. And that's a good choice by both drivers. But being sent to the back of the pack by making that choice, which has promoted Yagzan, Sven and Blackbox a few positions. Blackbox from pole position, the perfect team game, and now Mercedes P18 with a DNF, P14 with Blackbox. As I think the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. Ball on for his best result. Fruitful on for his best result as well. Davy wanting the challenge for the win to extend his championship lead over Blackbox and Julian. But Julian looming behind to take away some points from Davy. I say this will be an interesting race from now until the checkered flag falls. The number 37 Aston Martin, what can he do in this race? Is there any chance he will be the winner at the end of the 22 laps? Or will it go to Borrell, Fruitful, Davy? I think my predicted 1-2-3 is a 1-2-3. That's not happening anymore as the safety car is heading in this lap. So drivers are preparing to go underway here at Spa-Francorchamps. Let's head to the point of view of Borrell, who's ready to kick off this race once again from P1. The safety car through Blanchimon on his way to the pit lane. Bert Mylander in the safety car. Jars and Robin are switching positions on their safety car conditions. I think that has been resolved. Maybe it's better to look with Fruitful so we can see when Ball goes on the power. Fruitful has to be awake to not lose a position to Davy. And Ball has gone onto the power. He's not allowed to go any slower now as Mika gets a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Ferens, and Ferens also a 5-second time penalty. But Ball is on his way from Fruitful, from TFL Davy. Julian behind, pretty close to Davy, but not able to make a move as Mika and Ferens are still battling behind. And Steph in the Haas getting pretty close to Mika, and the speed difference coming out of Radion. You see how much he's gaining through the corner, but now being that close, he has no chance to get in front of Mika. So still Borrell from Fruitful, from Davy, and Julian pretty close to Davy. There is a little bit of contact. And is Julian able to make a move on the McLaren driver? I say he really wants to go for it, it looks like. But 5-second time penalty for Ferens and Mika after a safety car restart, that is just the worst thing that can happen, because you will drop a lot of positions. when the intervals are closer and closer and closer as Yüksel has retired from the race, as there's another safety car here at Spa-Francorchamps once again. So once again a safety car, and this time it was the Aston Martin of Yüksel crashing in sector 2. The cars won't pit, they will continue on their way. Will there be a gambler for slicks later on? I think there's someone in the pit lane, so that's Sven. What will he do? Will he switch tire compounds? Will he replace his front wing? Let's go on board with Sven. And they're ready for him with new intermediate tires. So new intermediate tires for TFL Sven heads back onto the track in P60. Drifting out of the pit lane, Sven. And now it's 2 more laps of safety car here at Spa-Francorchamps. As Damiano and meneer Van der Berg once again collide on the safety car. Oh no. And that means they will box once again to get their 5-second time penalties removed. So that's just scenes here in Spa-Francorchamps. And I said it was an interesting race from the get-go, but not for the reasons that I thought it would be. In my personal opinion, Spa-Francorchamps, as Damiano appears to have loosened his front wing. Yes, he does not have a front wing anymore. So I think Damiano went to the back of meneer Van der Berg. But maybe an unpopular opinion, I don't think Spa-Francorchamps is one of the best tracks for Formula 1. I think the only real overtaking opportunity we see is the Camel Straight. It is an awesome track to drive, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's the best track for racing. But that's my personal opinion, as Damiano really can't keep his McLaren on the road with his broken front wing. And the safety car will stay out for another lap. And as I was saying, I have something to talk about. For every instance there will be a safety car, but in the case of 3 safety cars and the chance of a 4th safety car after this one, I don't have any more facts to say that I can immediately think of. As Ferrens heads into the pit lane, I think that is to get his 5-second time penalty removed. Let's look what tire compound he will be fitting. I think it will be intermediate. No, it will be dries. Dry tires for Ferrens, and that might be a gamble that the dry period will come sooner rather than later. And also meneer Van der Berg in the pit lane. I can't see the tires that he has. I think it's Inters. Yes, Inter tires for meneer Van der Berg. So he now exits the pit lane without the 5-second time penalty. Damiano in the pit lane as well. What will he do? Oh, he has already pitted. New Inters. So Ferrens trying to go for a different strategy here by going onto the medium tires. Is the try going to dry up in time for Ferrens to use the medium tires and win this race from now P14 on the grid? It is an interesting take for sure. Sven in front, P13. and Black Box in P12. Black Box deja vu moments with Black Box, of course, with Ference being on the medium tire in rainy conditions. Is that a mistake from Ference, or was he supposed to be on the medium tires? Very interesting to see. Now it is too wet for dry tires, that's for sure. So intermediates still a lot faster, a lot quicker than the medium tires. And the safety car is in this lap, and let's hope that the safety car will stay in the pit lane for now, as the rain seems less than a few moments before. So, has Ference made the right call to go onto the medium tires? I don't think he has, but I hope he'll prove me wrong. Bottle in the Williams will go from P1. And let's look behind with Fruitful and then Davy and then Julian once again trying to overtake Davy, not only on track but for the championship as well. As we start now after the third safety car, it's Bottle who gets the clean exit from Fruitful. Julian trying to attack Davy into the Lassour's hairpin. Davy going wide and Julian going for the switchback, and it's Julian into P3. Julian overtaking Davy on track in the first corner at the first possible opportunity. Because Cameron behind in the Haas also looking to trying to overtake Davy, but I think he's just a little bit too far back at the moment. But Julian getting the restart well sorted and into the podium positions. And Davy seems to struggle in these conditions. Cameron already looking for a move on Davy. But Bottle driving away from Fruitful, having a clean exit. As Ference, yes, Ference of course on the medium tire, has made an, let's say, not so smart decision to go onto the medium tires and is in P16. And I don't think it will get any better for him. But Black Box battling his way through the grid in now P11 behind Yagizan. The Turkish driver has a lot of pace. Is Black Box able to overtake him with ease? And especially with Jars also ahead. Three very fast drivers in 9th, 10th and 11th place respectively. Jars, Yagizan and Black Box. Black Box pushing, will he go flat out through Blanchimont? No, he won't. Lifting just a little bit, might be a confidence lift. But let's look at Davy, who's already on the back, still on the back of Julian. Julian trying to go for a move now on Fruitful. Fruitful going a bit wide through the first corner, might be a strategy to get a better exit out of the Lassour's hairpin. And let's look for the battle for second place. Julian through Radion and Eau Rouge, now pushing his ERS, is trying to get past Fruitful. Can he get past? Fruitful is pushing, Julian is pushing, and it's Ference out of the race. Sector 1 and Sector 3, yellow flags. But that is for TFL Swen in Sector 1, because Ference has retired in the pit lane. Swen now final position of the running cars, and Sector 1 yellow, that is for Ference. As Swen gets a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting. That might be due to exceeding track limits at Les Combes. But this is a battle I'm pretty interested in. Julian trying to get past Fruitful for P2. Fruitful having shown some signs of brilliance, mainly his pole position at Baku. Very unexpected, even from himself, he said. But that shows he has the pace to get a good result. But Julian is looming behind, having had some of those results, and trying to get another one. Trying to get P2 from Fruitful now. Is 3 temps behind and onto lap 16. Now Borrell, through the bus stop, is almost 2 seconds ahead of Fruitful already, as Ferens has left the session. Oh, Sven once again spinning at the end of Sector 2. And it looks like it's dry. I think it's drying up here at Spa. Will anyone get into the pit lane? Someone is into the pit lane. It's Janssen. Janssen in the pit lane. And is this a strategic masterpiece that he's now getting into? He puts on the soft tire. Has to wait for what? No, he's on the way once again. As TFL Sven, I think he'll retire in the pit lane. But Janssen on the soft tire as the track seems to be drying up. So, will that promote him? Will he be rewarded for his gamble onto the slick tires? Oh, it does seem a little bit too wet for softs now. Oh, he keeps it on the track just. Yellow sector 1, that is for Janssen. But Borrell 1.5 ahead of Fruitful. Will Janssen be able to make the slicks work? Will any other driver pit this lap? I think it's worth the gamble for P3, 4, 5 to get into the lead of this race. But will Borrell or Fruitful risk it? I think one of the drivers will. It will be interesting indeed. So who will box for the dry tires? Let's look at Janssen. Is he getting on with those slick tires? I think they're getting better, but it's not at a stage where the slick tires are the better compound. But will someone head into the pit lane now? Borrell won't, Fruitful won't, Julian won't, and Davey won't, and I think the entire train continues on for another lap. Yagizan, yes, he heads into the pit lane. So Yagizan is gambling for the slick tires, and that might be a good or not so good decision. We'll see in a lap time, as Davey tried to get past Julian, but Julian keeping third position. Now Davey though pushing his ERS in the slipstream of Julian. The Aston Martin trying to defend the inside. Davey getting some slipstream from Fruitful. The Red Bull in front. Will Davey go around the outside of the Aston Martin? No, but Julian goes wide. Can he cut back? No, he can't. Julian remains in P3 with Davey in P4. Cameron looking behind in P5. But let's go on board with Yagizan. Can he make the soft tires work? I think yes, DRS enabled. So the track now plays into the hands of the slick runners. So that means Yagizan, I think, will be the fastest man on track at the moment. So does that mean, as Cameron tries to get past Davey, there is a little bit of contact, but he keeps it on the road. Jars and Robin also side by side. Jars being forced almost onto the grass, but now in front of the Ferrari of Robin, and Black Box also through on the Ferrari as Sven into the pit lane, retires in the pit lane. Yagizan and Janssen, fastest men on track. Borrell surely will head into the pit lane. Fruitful as well, Julian as well, Davey as well, everyone, yes, everyone into the pit lane. But let's look at Yagizan now. Where will Yagizan go as Cameron and Mika are battling at the pit entry? Can Yagizan take the lead here by pitting one lap early for the soft compound? That will be the question, or at least jump a lot of guys. Oh, let's look, he's jumping a lot of these cars. Can he go into the lead of the Belgium Grand Prix? He now makes his way out of the Lassour's hairpin. He is in P4, getting past Davey. Jackson in P4 by pitting early. The Turkish driver getting up to P4. And that is an awesome strategy call by the Turkish driver. But now Julian pushing for P2. Getting in the slipstream, now getting out of the slipstream and getting past Fruitful. So Julian into P2. Fruitful relegated down to P3. And Damiano and Steph are also battling for position. Steph getting past with the help of DRS. And Jars battling with Mika behind. Staying in front of Mika for now. But Jagizan, absolute strategic masterclass to get in front of a lot of these guys. Was in a hopeless position before, but now in P4, almost up to the podium positions in front of Davy. TFL Janssen gets his 3-second time penalty. Janssen also boxing 1 lap earlier than Jagizan, I believe. His gamble for slicks has not paid off because of pitting 1 lap earlier. But Borrell is still leading the Grand Prix on the slick tires, has boxed, is 1.5 ahead of Julian in the Aston Martin. So, is this the prime opportunity for Borrell to win a Grand Prix now in TFL? Davy getting past Jagizan, going wide. Davy once again relegated down to P5. I think that was a bit of a dive bomb from Davy, trying to get past Jagizan. And Fruitful on the rear of Julian. Julian not having a lot of pace, it seems. And Fruitful pushing a bit of ERS to get close to Julian. Now pushing even more ERS and activating the DRS. And Julian knows it. He's through into P2. So Fruitful back into P2 as Cameron tries to go towards the inside of Davy. Davy gives him room, but there was never going to make a move. He was never going to make a move on Davy. He was too far behind to make that move stick. But the top 6, with the exception of Borrell in the lead, are very close and all ready to pounce to make a move for the podium. As Fruitful gets 3 seconds worth of time penalties. That means he'll lose a few positions at the end of the race. His only hope is that a few of the guys around him are also going to get a few track limits, which might result in more 3-second time penalties at the front of the grid. But if that won't happen, Fruitful will drop down a few positions. Julian in P3 in the Aston Martin, Davy in P5, with Jagizan in the middle. Jagizan a bit under pressure from the McLaren driver as Fruitful sets the fastest lap of the race. Blackbox now sets the fastest lap of the race and immediately beaten by Steph in the Haas in P10. Fruitful almost into the DRS of Borrell, is trying to get into that DRS, an all important DRS. I tell you, the guys who have ERS and DRS behind, Jagizan, Davy, Julian, are trying to get a move on the guys in front. Can't make a move yet. Cameron real close to Davy. Will Cameron make a move towards Bruxelles? He will go for it. He has the inside for Bruxelles, which gives him the outside for the no-name corner. Davy is still there, and Davy has been overtaken at a rather unconventional position, unconventional place, as Robin gets a time penalty, as does Davy, as does Cameron once again at Pouen. 6 seconds now. Oh, once again getting a track limit. So Cameron getting a few track limits now. But Davy getting a track limit might be something that happened due to him and Cameron battling. And now Cameron trying to push some ERS to get closer to Jagizan. Jagizan only 11% ERS. In front of him it's Julian, 43% ERS. Fruitful 35, and then Borrell 40%. It's getting very close. As Janssen once again gets a 3-second time penalty now up to 9 seconds. And with the ERS that they have, they will try to go for an overtake. Cameron is pushing. Can he make a move on Youngison? They're so close. Let's go to Julian and Fruitful. Julian wants to make a move on Fruitful. He's not pushing yet. Who is pushing though is Cameron on Yagizan. And Cameron has overtaken Yagizan. So Cameron up into P4. Yagizan knows that he has the time penalty, so he will be relegated down a few positions. Currently, Julian is driving in P2, Yagizan in P3 with the time penalties applied. And then it depends on the amount of time penalties and the gap to Black Box in P7. But I think Fruitful now is on for a P4, best finish in TFL. But without a time penalty he would have got P2. But never say never, still a lot can happen here. Julian still might be able to get a time penalty, as does Yagizan, as does Borrell. But now Yagizan being overtaken by Davy. Davy just using a little bit of ERS to get in front of Yagizan. Oh, now Cameron and Julian and Fruitful all battling here for the final podium position, as Cameron almost loses his horse. Now Fruitful has to defend from Julian. Julian staying behind for the DRS detection point, as no! Cameron into the back of Julian, and Julian into the back of Fruitful. Might there be damage for any of these drivers, as Fruitful now into P3. Fruitful tries to defend. Oh no, there's a bit of contact between the Haas and the Red Bull. The Red Bull now behind has DRS on Julian and is able to make the move onto the Camel Straight. Julian on the inside. Oh, Fruitful holds back and lets Julian go. So he won't overtake Julian. He had the chance to do so. Why he didn't, I don't know. But he didn't overtake the Aston Martin. Now, once again, contact between Cameron and Davy. And that means Cameron and Davy switch positions as Mika is out of the Grand Prix. Cameron once again gets a 3-second time penalty. And that means Fruitful once again is in the podium positions. No, because Yagizan doesn't have a time penalty. I think he will inherit that third position. But no one could have stopped the man that is now driving in P1. Borrell is still in P1. And he's pushing the last bit of ERS he has left. Two men in front, both no time penalties. But I think Borrell, it's safe to say Borrell will take the win. He brakes for the final time for the bus stop chicane. He exits the bus stop chicane now on the throttle and towards the line to win the Belgium Grand Prix. Borrell wins for the first time in TFL. It's Julian in P2 making up points in the championship on Davy. Then it's Yagizan in P3. Black Box in P4 without the time penalty. So that means Fruitful will get P5. Davy P6. Jars P7. Steph P8. Cameron P9. And then Damian final points being position P10. P11 for Meneer van den Bergen. Robin in P12. And it's Johnson who's now braking for the final time for the bus stop chicane. Going over the line in a few seconds to finish in P13. And there you have it, the Belgium Grand Prix. Memorable for a lot of safety cars, changing conditions. But the man who judged them the best is Borrell. And I have to say, Yagizan, amazing recovery drive. He is my driver of the day from the back of the grid. We said it before. There is an opportunity for those guys behind to get back into very high positions, and Yagizan has done just that. He is on the podium in P3 and also makes in-grounds on Davy in the lead of the championship. So it's Borrell. Amazing race from the Williams driver in P1. Then it's Julian in P2. Yagizan in P3. Then it's Black Box P4 from pole position down to the last position on medium tires in the wet, still finishing P4. Amazing recovery. Then it's Fruitful in P5, Davey in P6, P7 for Jars, P8 for Steph, P9 for Cameron, P10 for Damiano. And it's time to invite Borrell, Julian and Yagizan into the party. So let's go to the party and add the drivers to the press conference. So it's Borrell, then it's Julian and Yagizan. Just have to scroll a little bit farther. Yagizan, yes. So invite them into the party. Some players weren't able to be invited. Oh no, Ball isn't able to be invited into the party. Hopefully he can adjust his settings so that he can join. I think some things in this race were a bit borderline on accidents, but it has been an amazing Grand Prix for sure. 3 safety cars, a new winner in TFL, and amazing recovery drives. Yagizan making up 16 positions. Fastest lap goes to Jars in P7 for the extra point in the Red Bull. I think no one's joining the press conference, so that means we'll end the stream right here, right now. And hopefully we'll see you again, once again, in a week time for the next, in 2 weeks time for the next round of the Talent Factory League. Thank you for watching and see you at the next race.